Hello, and welcome back to part two of Let's Talk About Sex.
Let's talk about sex again.
Yeah.
And this time we'll be jumping into some really the stickier side of all that. We're putting down the lube bottles and the sticks and the
Toy lightsabers.
and we're moving on to some other things. It's such a broad topic that there's so much to talk about, but we'll just dive right on into this. Is it still okay to say muff diving? Is that still okay to say?
I think so. I think it's just describes something that someone's doing.
Diving in muff first.
Well, I think you would dive in face first in that case.
But into the muff first.
Right.
Shut up, it's Friday.
Well, not for the people listening to this. For the people listening to this, I guess it could be Friday.
It's sex night. It doesn't matter what it is.
Right? People say that Wednesday is hump day, but it could be any day. Speaking of which, what are some of your favorite euphemisms for doing it?
Euphemisms. I don't really use many except for fucking. I think some of them just make me laugh, and I would use them just to make myself laugh, like boinking. I don't know. I'm pretty boring in that regard. I just generally say fucking or having sex. I'm really not happy about the making love one.
That one just bums you out.
Well, it sort of reminds me how people refer to toys as marital aids. I mean, yeah. I don't know who still does that. I hope most people have moved on, because it just sounds, I don't know, it sounds like something your grandma would say. And I don't really like to think about my grandma having sex. Well,
like, it's just, yeah.
I did this just came to mind. This has, nothing to do with that, but we were talking about grandmas and marital aids. And I had a really funny experience watching my grandfather open a present to him for his anniversary of edible panties. And I don't think he knew what to do with them. We just wanted to play a joke on him. We tried to explain, but it didn't really go over. And they're kind of like fruit roll-up, they're kind of like a fruit roll-up. So when we left him alone, it was a mistake, because when we came back, he was just eating them, just chewing, just like, no, grandma's supposed to be wearing them when you eat them. But anyways, yeah, marital aids and grandparents it's a sexy subject. But I think I just would go with, I usually just say fucking, or I don't know.
What about porking your lover?
Porking your lover. If any, I don't know, I have my own, if any guy said that around me, I would just be thinking he's calling me fat. I don't know.
Right.
It's sort of like,
well, you're not loving it. No, loving your porker, that would be calling someone fat.
Yeah, but porking just makes me think of pigs having sex,
which they also do.
Yeah, they probably pork.
Yeah, they definitely have been known to lay some pipe.
Or maybe they don't pork. Maybe they human meat. That was really bad.
Gross. What about slam the hen?
Slam the hen. No. That would make me the hen, I guess.
Presumably.
I mean, I'm guessing. I can't imagine.
Depending on the context. Not everything's about you.
Yeah, but I can't imagine the person I have sex with being the hen. And then in my case, it would be about me. And you did ask my opinion, and I don't like it.
Fine.
I mean, I don't like that one, but yeah.
Stuff the donut?
Stuff the donut. Yeah. I mean, I guess. Some of these sound like they're written by 12-year-olds.
What most of Urban Dictionary is.
That when they say like vagina, they say vagina. They're like being intimate. That can
being intimate. That's the worst.
Yeah. It could mean a lot of things.
People have intimate conversations. Does that mean that is that like doing mouth stuff?
Yeah, it's oral. That would make sense. In terms of like sexual acts, can you think of anything that any terms that you like in sexual acts? Like being more specific than just having sex. I ran across one today that was called bobsledding, and
God.
I brought it up because of the Olympics, and it's the act of laying the erect penis along a butt crack and essentially titty banging the butt cheeks until you ejaculate, resulting in a winter wonderland. And I love the sentences that they provide. If you'd like to titty fuck her, but her boobs are too small, try bobsledding.
Is that what bobsledding is like, though?
I have no idea. And I only know about bobsledding from the Jamaican bobsled team. One of my other, I think we talked about this actually a while back. We found it, something called smurfing, because the term came up and we were confused because it had a sexual connotation. And it has other connotations, yes, but on Urban Dictionary, and hopefully we're not just being boring by reading Urban Dictionary things, but it's named after the television show because it's the act of putting your partner in some sort of choke sleeper hold while having sex until their face turns blue, and then you pull out and finish off by proceeding to give your blue-faced partner a droopy white cap on their head, just like the Smurfs would wear. And for added effect, you can let loose a cackle similar to Gargamel. That's what really makes it like a really good smurfing, is when you let loose the Gargamel. I think that's a millennial thing because we're the 80s kids that watch cartoons, like watch the Smurfs and stuff. Smurfs are back, but it was never as good as the original.
Clearly not. If based on the original Smurfs, we got that particular sex act out of it.
Exactly.
So I guess I'm into it.
You'd be into getting smurfed. Well, I think I've heard that for just fucking anyways, smurfed.
Right, exactly. But no, I mean like in theory. I'm not really what would that be, like considered breath play?
Yeah, I'm not too fond of that either, actually, to be honest.
Yeah, like a little bit. Mm, you know. I just found this one and I don't know why it's called this. Figging. Can you guess what figging involves?
Um, something to do with the fruit.
That's what I thought.
Wait, like testicles? They hang
Right?
down a bit. Does it have something to do with Cyril Figgis? I know that he has a huge cock.
It does not. Apparently, it's the act of inserting a piece of peeled ginger into someone's butthole, which would burn,
Oh,
sting, and be quite painful, which I don't really I guess now that was, wow, apparently it was a form of corporal punishment on female prisoners by the Greek and Roman empires. I don't know how. I'd like to see a citation for that.
you know,
I
that's
don't know.
that's horrible. I did know somebody that used to tell me that when you rub raw ginger on in the shower, it helps headaches. And I
Wait,
used
rub it
to
on where?
exactly, but I'm pretty sure this person meant their temples and their forehead, basically sort of like putting Tiger Balm or something like that, or menthol, or the
Right.
menthol rub or something on your head. But I used to laugh and call it gingering. And there is somebody else that I knew brought up the fact that there were some people that would put it in horses' butts to make them run fast, which is just awful. And so
Wow.
I think ginger has a nasty history. I mean,
Clearly.
but apparently it can help some people relieve headache pain, and maybe there's a sadomasochist sort of sexual pleasure that ginger can bring out as well. I don't know.
Yeah. At the very least, it inspired some of it.
Right.
other forms of consensual
But
pain infliction on that particular area.
speaking of pain and inflicting pain, what are your feelings on pain in the bedroom or anywhere else? Like, it's just BDSM in general. Like, do you like being in pain, or do you like inflicting pain on anybody?
I definitely don't enjoy inflicting pain on
You don't
another
know,
person.
right? You don't enjoy inflicting pain.
No, I mean, I guess if the person like was really enjoying it, I maybe that would change the way I felt about it, but I have not had that experience. So at this stage, I would say no, I've never enjoyed inflicting pain. Um, there are times when there's a little bit of pain or discomfort, but it's just sort of worth it.
Hmm.
I don't know that I seek that aspect of it out specifically.
Like a level of pain, like maybe biting or
Oh yeah, right.
a
And
bit of,
that's like short-lived,
right,
but
right,
like sure, but I,
right.
like
But it like adds to the intensity or the passion a bit. You just can't
right.
help, you just bite each other or something. I mean, I understand that the prolonged pain. um I used to be able to handle prolonged pain when I was in my 20s, and it was kind of fun. But I think as you age, there's so much pain anyways, like from aging, that I'm just like, oh God, I just can't. Like, I mean, sex does change as you age.
Yeah, like my back is
It's
already
normal.
killing me. I don't
Yeah,
need other pain in my life.
exactly. So I think that does, I mean, but I do, some level of pain is nice because it sort of commingles with pleasure, and it makes the
Right.
pleasure feel, anyways, it's all sort of mixed in there. But I definitely am not one of those people that you'll find at a sex club strung up with their nipples clamped really hard and their labia being pulled apart. And it's fine if that's you,
I
but
mean, different people respond to pain in different ways, for
oh,
sure.
definitely, definitely. And some people, that just feels good. That's, there's no pain there. It's just a sexual pleasure. But yeah, I did find a another sexual term that could actually fit into this pain thing, but it's rather weird. It's one of the weirder Urban Dictionary sexual slangs. It's called the spicy gringo. And
It's
it's the,
just
you did? Okay. It's
I'm
the, yeah, the act of stuffing a woman's rear, but I don't know why they specify a woman,
right.
with a volcano taco from Taco Bell and then eating it. That just sounds, I mean,
First of
it's,
all, it sounds not easy to do in the first
no,
place.
it sounds messy. And why would you want to put taco ingredients in your ass? It's like, I don't know. I mean, with food in general, I think when we're young, we kind of experiment more. And I don't know if you went through a food thing. People always show it looking so great, eating like some strawberries off your partner's dick or boobs or whatever. But it kind of doesn't. I don't know. It just. And then it actually just makes me think of like George Costanza eating it, getting to the point where
It's Rami on rye.
he's eating giant hoagies in bed while and mixing the pleasures of eating and fucking. And it's, um yeah, I've never been a big fan of food and sex. I don't know. It's just,
I generally don't enjoy having crumbs in my bed.
yeah, exactly. And
So I
getting,
guess if you're in the kitchen, why not? But
and I know, you, when you're young, it's just everything is new and you haven't tried it yet. And maybe you want to open your fridge and try honey, or no person keeps honey in the fridge, but like mayo and stuff like that, like
mayo, no, no,
butter. People, you just
no.
things in the fridge that young
Why all
people
the dairy and egg products? Why?
will just, things that would provide some sort of, I don't mean to eat them, I just mean like some some nice jam and stuff. It also like gets caught in body hair if you have it,
Right.
if you're with a guy with a hairy chest, and then you have to
Or
like,
a woman with a hairy chest. It
yeah,
happens.
and then you feel like you have to lick like, whipped cream off their hairy chest. And it's like, it's nice for them because they're like, they get this hairless dish, this gorgeous, and they get, but if you're with a very hairy partner, it's, I don't know, it, hair and food. Anyways, that's like a whole, some people might like sex and food. I like pictures of girls, like, I don't mind having an element in the photos. It and like sexy photos and stuff. I actually think, like honey dripping. I mean, it can be really erotic to have pictures with food, but like actually using food while you're having sex, and there's just like sex juice and like,
Yeah, I whoa, urethral intercourse.
is that
No.
like sounding, or what kind of, oh, do you mean when people, you're not talking about actually putting a dick in a woman's urethra, right?
That's what this is talking about.
Well, I was reading a medical report about a newlywed couple who went to the ER because she was in pain. And they realized that the man was, because they'd never had sex before, they were virgins. And this is why you maybe shouldn't, wait until your wedding night to have sex. Um, he was sticking his dick in her pee hole,
No.
sorry, in, not, I mean, in, wait, what did they, there, anyways,
Wow.
it was just weird. Like maybe she had a very, you know,
Clearly, or he had a very tiny.
or both, and they were clearly
Wow.
meant for each other, but, or
Yeah,
maybe not,
right?
maybe the other part. Anyways,
Well,
I
clearly
was,
not, since she definitely was in discomfort and probably had a UTI. You shouldn't be sticking things in there. It's an exit.
no, I was astounded by, there's just some crazy things that happen during sex. I mean, some people clamp down on their partners and their muscles,
Well, yes.
and there's just, so in that regard, that would probably be the most interesting thing about being a doctor, is seeing all these crazy, you know, sex blunders or things stuck in people's bodies, and then having to hear their excuses.
I slipped.
Yeah, exactly. That's classic. Something that's been like a hot trend in these last couple of years, I've noticed, is Blumpkins. Everybody's talking about Blumpkins.
Right? They sound charming and adorable, but
But then when you really think about it, it actually is aptly named.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
um there's, you since you saw the last one, you probably have already seen the Blumpkin plunger.
Yeah.
um a sexual move which occurs during or at the end of a Blumpkin, requiring the receiver to force the giver's head into the toilet after dropping their deuce. um
Why?
Apparently it usually happens due to lack of skill by the giver to make the receiver come. So if you can't make your person come while they're taking a shit, it's your fault. So you get
That's your punishment?
a face full of deuce, I guess. I guess
I
that's
don't.
apparently what this sex act is. I'm wondering who these people are that are actually committing these sex acts.
Well,
Just
or
sort of like crimes.
even just imagining committing them. That's
Mm-hmm.
a bit
Mm-hmm.
much.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not we're not shaming anybody, but you know, like I guess unless that's their thing.
Yeah, there's there's somebody out there for every kink, and I am actually just mostly fascinated because I am pretty vanilla. So I get into this stuff and I'm just so curious. Like I find these people fascinating because I'm just not, I don't think I'm into, I don't do Blumpkins as much as I joke with our friends that I, but I just, That's just something I absolutely would never do unless there was a gun to my head. I would
Right.
not suck someone's dick or eat them out on a toilet while they're taking a shit. Never. It would.
Generally, like like toilets are really for one thing,
Hmm. Yep.
unless you got the stomach flu, and then I guess it's for that one other thing.
And like
But
swirlies are something happening in middle school. So mostly I just, I'm glad there are billions of people in the world that are willing to do all these other weird things that I won't do because it's entertaining to read about other people doing them or watching. I mean, there's lots of videos out there of people doing these things. It's
yeah,
sort of, I mean, it's like people watching. That's why we get into people of Walmart and stuff like that. It's just interesting. So that's why, I don't, that's why I talk about it because I'll never do it.
you, I'm just looking at this. The image that Wikipedia has for facial, just let me share my screen with you for a second.
Okay.
It's amazing.
Yeah, that's lovely. An illustration of a man ejaculating onto a woman's face. Well, that's very accurate, I guess. Except
Way to go, Wikipedia. Way to
it,
be sex positive.
some semen really stings the eyes, though. She looks way too happy when she's wiping it off of the corner of her eye.
I
I mean,
know.
there's no like, she has very black eyelashes. She probably has mascara on. She's all prettied herself up. And you'd think that there would be like mascara. I mean, this is what happens. Like your mascara runs, your face is all red and from all the face pounding and sometimes and you're probably crying because some of it stings and it's in her eye and
He looks amused though, overly amused.
it's also very uniform.
Yeah.
Like it's coming down her nose like a beautiful, alpine peak. I mean, she just looks like somebody just snowed a beautiful.
Yeah,
It's wonderful though.
it's a bit much, I think.
I noticed they do often change up their pictures, Wikipedia, because I noticed that back in the day when I used to look up tribbing or tribadism or scissoring, whatever, it was a really, really funny picture. Now they have something up that's like missionary position where they're rubbing their
Yeah, I just saw that
vulvas
too.
together. Yeah,
They
but
look happy though. Well,
they
the
do.
one
Oh
whose
my!
face you can
Oh,
see
she
looks very
looks so
happy.
happy, and look at those two cute little vulvas together. But like back in the day when I
I
used to
mean,
look
she's
this
actually
up,
too she's laughing kind of like it's I'd
yeah,
be offended if somebody was laughing that hard.
she looks like she's being tickled. But the thing is that when I looked at this way back in the day, I saved the picture because it was so funny. And it was actually, just the scissoring and oh, wait, maybe it's down there. It is when you scroll down. No, it's similar to the picture I saw. It's more of aligned to, scissoring. But the one that I saw back in the day, it looked like a creature because of how there's nothing. I'm not saying anything against tribbing and everything. It's probably some people's favorite position, but
Why not?
the way that they depicted it, it was not flattering in the first picture years ago. It showed women sort of like holding themselves up, and it didn't look romantic at all, or even look pleasurable at all. It just looked like a fused creature that someone had used.
A serious core workout.
Yeah, definitely. It did not look comfortable. But this is, and you notice in the picture, I don't know if you're looking at it, but the actual scissoring picture, both the women are wearing rings. Like, are they married? Is this supposed to be some sort of like, sure, you can do this, but you should be married first? I just noticed they both have wedding rings on.
I
Like on
didn't
the,
notice. I closed the window already. I didn't
okay.
notice.
It's very odd that they would, um, I don't know. Maybe that's just a detail that it doesn't mean anything, but it's kind of
Right?
weird that
Even married people can do that.
yeah, or maybe they're trying to control you with you should be married if you're going to be tribbing. Don't
Right?
just do it with your friends. But everybody does it with their friends.
Is that true?
Well, we haven't done it, so I'm pretty sure it's untrue.
Now everybody knows.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh well.
I could be lying though, but yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but probably not.
Who knows?
Okay, this one. Uh, this is just the etymology of the word scissoring, and the exemplar they give is my daughter likes scissoring too much. But then it continues, and I read that and I was like, holy shit, that's okay. I didn't realize people were having these such frank conversations. But then it continues on to say she'll cut up any and all papers when she gets a hold of a pair.
Oh, okay. Well, still, that still sounds sexual.
Extremely.
Can you imagine that conversation though, sitting them down and be like, "You're scissoring too much. You like scissoring far too much. You need another hobby."
Oh man.
So there was another one that I found that has to do with dogs. And again, I think a lot of 12-year-old boys write these out. This one's called fetch, and it's the sexual act involving a dog, a ball, a woman, and a volunteer. I mean, I guess you think it would be like
I would hope they're a volunteer.
your
Otherwise,
person you're having sex with or whatever, but it just says volunteer. And maybe there's something to do, maybe volunteer actually means something else. Anyways, I don't care. But it says the volunteer throws the ball, aiming it into the woman's vagina. Once the ball is successfully thrust into the woman's vagina, the dog runs and attempts to grab the ball from inside the woman's vagina, often eating her out in a rough, quote unquote, RUFF manner. Once the dog
what?
returns the bloody ball, because
Oh.
apparently all back to the volunteer, fetch has been performed successfully. All of this has been misspelled. So I'm really sure that Urban Dictionary is just run by 12-year-olds. But the conversation underneath it is like, Mike says, "Did you hear what happened to Jessica at the party?" And David says, "No, what?" And Mike says, "Donald was playing with his dog and eventually ended up performing fetch on Jessica." And David responds with, "Was the dog okay?" Anyways, this is a really, why is so many of them about dogs?
What
And
kind of party was this?
I know, who are these people? Poor Jessica.
For real.
And poor dog. I mean, to be tricked like that, that's just human amusement.
It just also seems very unlikely that anybody is going to be able to throw a ball
I know.
into
It's like Ski-Doo or whatever that
a
ball
ski
game is.
ball.
Skee-Ball, yeah. I'm really good at Skee-Ball, so I can do this. I trained my whole childhood. That was just, yeah.
Even still, I don't care how good you are at skee ball. I don't think that that's doable.
No. But one that I ran into called Bloody Mary had something to do with eating a girl out on her period, which I thought was just earning your Red Wings or whatever.
Right.
But
That's just being a fucking adult and not being a
yeah.
baby about
So I'm
it.
just
Grow up.
exactly. And the sentence is John gave Carly a Bloody Mary because she still wanted some. I don't know. Okay.
I mean, wouldn't it even be the other way around? Like, wouldn't he be the one getting the Bloody Mary?
Yeah. But that just makes me think like, again, our bodies do change as we age. I remember sex during period was actually really nice back then. And now I basically just, when I think of, and maybe it's the type of sex, like maybe, I mean, just thinking of insertion during that time, I'm like, oh God. I know it can help with cramps and stuff, but just the thought of anything insertion wise, maybe other things would be fine, but
No, I'm for. I mean, I'm for pretty much all of it.
so you don't mind it, does it actually help with any period stuff? Because I just don't want anybody around me during that time. I'm just, you know.
Yeah. Um, I mean, obviously it depends on like the person. There are definitely some people I don't really want them around me ever. That would only get worse if I am like feeling shitty and bloated and have
Right.
cramps. But no, yeah,
No,
I find it
it soothes.
yes,
Well, that's
physically,
good.
emotionally, very
Yeah.
soothing. Yeah.
Well, I think like orgasms in general, it can feel really intense when you're menstruating.
Yeah, that
Um,
actually, right. And that's very true.
Everything's so sensitive.
Yeah,
Like it's
right.
just like your nipples are like
Oh, yeah.
crazy. And so I do see that. Maybe it's just like the first part where I'm just like gushing and I'm like, no, I don't want. There are toys or marital aids where you can do stuff with your partner and you don't have to, you can still connect with them and you can have your space as well and you can have an orgasm while you're bleeding. So it's all
Right. Well, and I know that we talked about this during our menstruation episode, but Nixit, the
Mhm,
menstrual disc,
mhm.
is like a cup disc sort of. One of the things that they specifically say about their product is that it allows for messless intercourse.
I was watching somebody's Instagram when she ran off and asked her boyfriend about it, and he says that he can't even feel it. So I know that
Yeah.
you can, yeah, messless, and for the men, not that we care, but you can't feel it apparently.
Right. And I know I do, I will say that I do happen to know that it's not the same for the something that's the shape of like a diva cup, for instance, like the ones that rely on suction, they can definitely
Mhm.
feel that. It's not super comfortable for the person wearing it either. But yeah, another reason to get Nixit. We're not being paid by them either.
No, but also a good company that you should look into.
And super sex positive and body positive and just generally doing a lot to dispel certain myths about menstruation, about our bodies, about things like body hair and just all that stuff. I think they're having a pretty positive impact.
Oh, definitely. I've been seeing their stuff everywhere, and by everywhere, I just mean Instagram because I'm
Right.
only on there. So we've sort of touched on some of the changes that happen, like since we've been young and started having sex until now. Have you noticed anything, a significant change that you've found? Like when I think about the pain issue, for me, that's probably one of the biggest sexual changes that I've had is just that I'm not as adventurous because, your body ages and it just feels. Have you noticed anything, from your 20s to your 40s? Young people seem to think that you just stop having sex when you get old, or you're just, I don't know what they think really. It's just, they're almost like, oh, old people don't have sex or something. It's just, but actually some people get even kinkier yeah, so I'm just curious what, if you've experienced any major, like, because I think I've known you since we were in our 20s and
Yeah,
now you're,
definitely.
yeah.
I'm not in my 40s yet though, so back
No, I
off.
know you. No, you're about, but some of us are. You're about like what, 4 years younger than me.
Yeah.
You're nearly there. But I mean,
Shut up.
it's enough time to,
Yes.
and then once you get there, I'm gonna just be relentless and just,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter that I'm older. I'm just gonna be making fun
Right.
of you.
Right. Because you're not relentless at all right now. It's going to get worse. Good to know.
No, I don't relentlessly harass you with sexy owls at all.
You know what? If they were sexy, I wouldn't be so upset.
Well, they show off a lot of leg in some pictures. They hike those
That's worse.
feathery skirts up and show off their
No,
gams.
they're petticoats.
Yeah, they're petticoats.
Whatever. No, what would you call those? Your bloomers? I don't even know.
Yeah, petticoats and little bloomers, and yeah, they show off those gams and what's under there. We've always wondered.
Well, no,
Um,
I don't wonder anymore because I've seen it. and
Oh
it's
man.
horrifying.
I need to
Um,
find some owl genitals or something to send you. I've never seen owl genitals. I'll have to look into that.
Gross, please. Now I'm curious, but please don't.
Well, I'm going to because I'm
Wow.
relentless.
Yeah, that's fair. But no, back to your question. I mean, nothing sort of like springs to mind that's like very specific, but I think just sort of overall in general, uh, confidence is a big factor,
Hmm.
and like knowing what I like and what I don't like, and
Yeah.
like not being embarrassed.
And in that way, I feel that sex actually improves as you age.
Yeah, in
I mean,
that
I
sense, yeah, in that
yeah.
sense for sure.
I mean, I know when people are young, they're hot and young and they have lots of energy, but the quality of sex tends to get better as you age.
Yeah, well, and you also have the opportunity to get to know people a little bit better, like in terms of like actually enjoying myself, it tends to be with somebody who I feel really comfortable with.
Yeah.
And that was harder when I was younger for lots of different reasons, but and then once you sort of have that experience of like, oh, this is what it can be like with somebody, not necessarily because you're in a relationship, but somebody who you feel safe with them and you trust them,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
you're both comfortable enough to talk about things, not just at the time, but in general.
I think also it's that you tend to get to know yourself more as you get older, and then you know how to communicate and you
Right.
know how to, yeah, like you know exactly what you said, you know what you like, you know what works for your body. And often when we're young, we just want to try everything. We just want to stuff everything in our orifices. We want to have, have sex everywhere. It's just,
Right.
and then as we
The
age,
novelty wears
yeah,
off.
we fine tune things and we
Yeah.
get to know what works. And communication is huge. You
Right.
can't you can't really blame your partner for being bad if you also don't let them know what works and what doesn't work. If you've already done that and they still suck, then sure, but
Well, yeah, stop having sex with them.
exactly.
Like, so it's pretty obvious. Yeah. So I think really that's probably the biggest change that I've noticed.
I do remember when I was younger being like finally when I'd had sex also to just looking at everybody going, oh my God, everybody has had sex. My grandma has had sex. My parents have had sex. Like
Gross.
everybody, like there's, it's sort of, for a while there, it kind of ruined it because I was just like, all these people have had sex. And
Right.
also when you're at like a family event, you stare at like the matriarch of your family, your grandmother and stuff, and
God, no.
you're like, our whole family is basically here. Most of our family's here because those old people had sex. It's like this pyramid of sex, like from
Sex pyramid.
the sex pyramid.
Well, I'm about to go have dinner with my parents, so thanks for that. I can hear them in the other room. This is a nightmare.
Well, do you think that your parents have any sex kinks now that we can hear them talking? If you had to guess, if you had to guess,
If I had to guess, I would say no, quite honestly.
so they're not like BDSM parents and things
No.
like that.
No. I would be shocked.
Do you think if your parents were extremely sexual people, I know some people's parents are like porn stars and stuff like that. Do you think that you would have
Right.
gone in an opposite direction and been one of those kids that were extremely conservative?
I mean, I already was, well, not conservative, like, but conservative in the sense that I was like embarrassed to talk about it and that kind of thing.
Hmm.
So, no, I don't think that. I think I was just destined to be this way.
Well, you're
So,
destined to be that way, and now you're going out with your parents for dinner.
Well, I mean, we're eating here at home, but
I was trying
um,
to think of a nice way of saying goodbye to you if you have to, you know, pull yourself away from uh talking about horrible sex stuff to then re-enter into
no,
family.
you're specifically choosing the this phrasing, and I don't appreciate it.
Okay, fine. Okay,
You're an asshole.
fine. I'll bring up another. I'll take out another sex act for you. There's one called the Kentucky Tractor Puller, and it's the act of a male and a male. Wait, an act of a male and a male, or a male and a female, performing anal sex. But during sex, the receiver clenches their butt cheeks tightly and runs with the penis still in the buttocks. I don't know how that works, running like that.
Why? What does that have to do with Kentucky?
I don't know.
Will someone from Kentucky please tell
Yeah,
us?
maybe they have a lot of tractors and they do tractor pulls and stuff. Maybe it's a whole thing. Is there one position that actually is easier or best to have an orgasm in?
Um, Depends on certain factors, but definitely sitting upright. Both people sitting upright face to face.
Okay. You
Yeah,
probably have very good core muscles then.
I do. Not, I'm not bragging. I'm just saying I do.
It's interesting to see what people's favorites are and what really gets them.
And flexible hips.
Yeah, you'd have to. Your sciatica is probably pretty good. I mean, your nerve, everything in that area is probably very healthy and tight.
I try anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about what's your, do you have a favorite or have you mentioned it already? Was it it was the Kentucky tractor pull,
Yeah, it
right?
was, well, I'm from Idaho, so
Right. Right.
slick poo. But I'm pretty sure the tractor puller is pretty famous there too. But I'm not really a huge fan of anal sex, I have to admit. It's not what I would jump to right away. It's not like it's Friday night. I want some anal sex. I don't know. Maybe there's just no nerves there, or maybe there's been too much catastrophic stuff that happened there that's like,
What? 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 What about being on so like on the receiving end, not so much, but what about pegging?
I would definitely do that, but I don't have anybody that's interested. I think that we've sort of had this what if thing, like if I were to grow a penis overnight, you can't just stop loving somebody just because they grew a penis. Then yeah,
Right.
I think he would be open to it. But if I just wanted to don a giant strap on and fuck him in the ass,
It doesn't have to be
um,
giant.
well, no, I know it doesn't have to, but I think to him it's like anything looks pretty big if it's going to go in there. Even a pencil probably
Which
causes
is
anxiety.
right, which is how I feel.
Exactly. Like, why should I have to? Anyways, doesn't matter. There's been a couple times that it was really nice, but most of the time it's traumatic. And I can't remember the last time I did it because it was, yeah, it's not my favorite. That's for sure. So I don't think I'd pick the Idaho tractor puller. Um, but if I did do it, it probably would turn into that because I would be running away. And so it probably would turn into a tractor puller. I don't know. I'm really boring. I uh, like on your back with sort of a side, sort of almost like a trimming with your legs, sort of like that, but to the side so you can manipulate everything going on. So it's not, you're not just being smashed on your back like some, I don't know, they call it the missionary, I guess, but that's not what I like. The favorite is sort of like from the side sort of thing. Like, I don't know how to
Right.
describe it. There's probably words somewhere to describe,
Right. Of
but
course.
for some reason, I don't need to, maybe I'm a bit weird. I don't need people to be right in my face. So it has nothing to do with against them. You know, I've never, there's never been anybody unpleasant, but I don't know. It's okay if they're not near my face. From what we're saying about each other, about our own likes, I think we'd be completely bad sex partners together, just to let you know. Because you kind of like this face to face thing, sitting up with good
Yeah.
core muscles, and my core muscles are shit, and my sciatica hurts, and I don't want to be near somebody's face. So I think we're sort of, we can see that we'll never. So anybody that has been listening to this podcast and has been hoping that we'd somehow have some sort of love affair, no, we're completely wrong for each other. We've just established this officially. So
Yeah, it's not, this is not like one of those, like it's not a love-hate relationship. Well, I mean it
no,
is, but it's not
it's a
like
hate.
it's a hate relationship.
Yeah, but respectfully, like I respectfully hate you. Anyway,
Exactly.
since you're Canadian, I wanted to give you one last sex term thingy. It's called the Canadian porch swing. Oh God, I hope this really isn't something really bad. I didn't read this through. It's when two completely naked people are standing upright. Oh, you might like this. Oh, one behind the other. The person in the rear inserts their big toe inside of the anus of the person in front of them. As the person who has their toe inside of the other person's sphincter moves their big toe in and out, it causes the person in front to rock back and forth like a porch swing. Okay, that's not what I thought this was going to. Why would big toes have anything to do with Canadians and porch swings? That is like, no. And then the sentence is Tracy and Terry were doing a Canadian porch swing on their front porch and got arrested. Like, really, you just don't. I don't even know who could even 12-year-olds again.
None of those things are distinctly Canadian.
No, I was thinking maybe it was going to be about maple syrup or mousse or something, but no. I like to like pry into your life because it's more interesting. Do you prefer actual sex or masturbation?
Well, again, it depends on the person. There's
Okay.
definitely times where I'm like, you could just go.
I'll just call you an Uber and warm up my sex toys.
Right.
Bye bye.
But no, I think that the nice part is feeling close to someone in a way that's like I get that some people are into, hate sex or whatever you want to call it. That's not really my thing. Like if I don't even like someone at all, it's not enjoyable for me.
Another clincher. You're never into hate sex. So again, anybody
Right.
hoping, nope,
It's never going to happen.
no, not there's too much hate.
Yeah, no, right, exactly. I have to actually like the person, like on some level. At the very least, it's a waste of my time. And I don't mind when I waste my own time, but I don't like it when other people waste my time.
It's a waste of your moisture.
Right. And and it's true that I have plenty, but still,
But as you age,
I
that'll
won't
change.
always. Exactly. I
Yeah.
know that I won't
You'll
always.
be like
So
Jessica Walters in Arrested Development.
I'd, I'd, I'd cry, but I can't spare the moisture.
Exactly.
Gross.
Oh God, she's amazing.
So I love her so much.
Yeah. Oh,
I miss her.
yeah. Yeah, me too. Yeah. So there's so much that you could talk about. I mean, it's such a huge subject. We're not going to cover everything, but we will move on to a different subject next week. But we just, there's just, I mean, and then there's like it's mind-boggling how much you could talk about in terms of sex. There's, the whole spectrum of what,
Yeah.
but also it's a huge subject. So it's not like we're trying to cover everything. We just wanted to
No, we can't. We couldn't possibly.
make everyone uncomfortable with some horrible sex talk.
And really, probably all we've done is succeed in making ourselves uncomfortable.
Yeah, I'm pretty uncomfortable because, and I think that you should leave this in because it actually adds to it. That uh, that you forced me to talk about sex while listening to your parents talk. That is just some enemy bullshit. Like you did this on purpose. You planned your vacation and you planned your sex episodes, and now I have to like I can't like get all wet and juicy. This was your protection, you know. You
Yeah.
wanted to protect yourself from my advances, and there was
I know.
nothing.
From your
Yeah,
aggressive sexuality.
yeah, you're my microaggressions. You were
Your
just
your macroaggressions.
yeah, you were like, oh great, I have to talk about sex with Didi for 2 episodes, and she's gonna probably be drunk and always drinking
Belligerent.
wine, and she's gonna try to get in there. She's gonna try to, and now I can't do that with your dad making cute noises in the background.
Now he's singing.
That's actually really sweet.
The, the
I'm
best part
glad
is
I'm glad we could share this sex episode with your parents. Sorry, what's the best part?
oh, the best part is that nobody can hear, only I can hear you. I've got headphones in.
Oh, okay. I wonder if you'll be able to hear it in. I wonder if everyone else will be able to. I
Yeah,
hope so
me
because
too.
it's quite sweet.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
also I also I also have a new microphone, and so I didn't realize that I had the what do you call it? The gain turned all the way up. And so
Okay.
I can
Right.
control how much it actually
Yeah.
hears.
When we advertise for this episode, should we do featuring special guests?
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
that well
Well, I'm out of wine and out of moisture, and
Gross. I did not need to know that.
there is
Ready for
one.
dinner.
Yeah, you're all lubed up, ready for dinner. There is one last sex act I want to tell you about, but we have to stop recording. I'm sorry to all the people who won't get to hear this, but I have to tell this to you in private.
Now I'm
So
scared.
I'm scared to
Oh.
read it, but I don't want to traumatize people who listen to this.
If Dee Dee's not back next week, it's because I fired her for sexual harassment.
Yeah.
For whatever this is that she's going to tell me about. So,
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
well, I gotta know. So, until next week.
Until next week. And I think we're going to be moving on from sex after this, but we never really move on. It's always part of our lives. So
Right.
we'll be talking about our wet vaginas. No, let's not go. Anyways, I
I
think we're
mean,
gonna
it'll, presumably at some point we will.
but we're moving on to like taxes, right? I mean, it's tax season,
It is tax season.
but we can still talk about our vaginas during the tax season.
Right.
Okay.
Speaking of things that are not hot,
It's
it's
you know
tax season.
tax. It's about getting fucked. So similar. No, I don't know if we're gonna be talking about that, but so don't completely stop listening if you think we're actually going to be talking about taxes. I have no idea. We
We
could. I
could.
mean,
Yeah, it is another way of getting fucked. I'm excited that our sex episodes are on Spotify so that we can it's a whole new gives a whole new meaning to fuck Spotify.
so
Well,
have sex, masturbate, use your toys, eat
yeah,
some eat some hoagies off of your partner's ass, and just have fun. Have
yeah.
sex.
Everybody's got an ass.
Everybody have sex.
Enjoy.
Get juicy.